Why do 99% of tech founders fail to raise funding? After helping hundreds of founders and raising $16 million myself, I discovered that it's usually just down to 4 very simple things. So I just want you to stick with me for 5 minutes and I'm going to show you what they are and how to fix them. And by the end of this video, you're going to have clarity on exactly where to focus next to get the funding that you need for your startup. So again, why do 99% of startups fail at fundraising? Well, what you want to do is think of fundraising capital like a chain, and there are 4 links on it. And if one of these links breaks, the whole chain falls apart and you just won't get any funding. Now, sadly, most founders fail because one or all of their links are broken. So now I'm going to show you what each link represents and how to fix each one of them. So that first link is all about understanding investor psychology. When I first started, I failed 2 startups and multiple fundraisers because I was thinking like a founder. I was obsessing over product features and technical details. But the thing is, investors don't think like founders. They never have and they never will. So I was always asking myself, probably things that you're asking yourself. How do I make my product better? Which features should I be adding? All of these kind of things. But that's the wrong question when you think about fundraising because investors don't buy your products necessarily. What they really do is they invest into businesses and the future. So instead, I had to learn to think like an investor and ask things such as, why do I think this is going to be a massive exit? How does this scale? And once I understood investor psychology and started thinking with an investor hat instead of a founder hat, I went from failing multiple fundraisers to raising for my own startup. So if you don't understand why investors make decisions and what they really care about, you need to stop fundraising and focus on this, because if you're getting this wrong, your first link's broken and nothing else you will do will ever work because you'll be working on the wrong things in your fundraise. Then you move on to the next link in our chain, which is building an investor network. Most founders get this bit totally wrong because when I started my first business, I wasn't able to meet a single investor, and I speak to founders every day who are having the same problem. So it didn't matter how great my product was or how great I was at communicating it because I didn't have a network. I was trying to do cold emails and LinkedIn messaging, putting my pitch deck on their website, and no one even took a meeting with me. So my fundraising failed before I even started. And I see this all the time with founders. You can't just blast out cold emails to random investors. You need to build genuine relationships with the right investors who actually invest in your stage. Which investors to target and how to approach them in a way that actually gets you meetings. Because that's the thing, you need to build a system of how you build your network. And that's what brings us on to the third link in the chain, which is telling your narrative in the right manner. So let me show you how powerful this is. I was working with a founder called Daniel who had a great product and he was getting investor meetings, but it just wasn't working. He kind of had to push forward with some fundraisers. He was jumping into meetings without any structure and he wasn't really raising as much as he wished he could. So I gave him a system that made him structure exactly how he told his story, how he answered his questions, the clarity in what he was building, how he communicated with investors both in meetings and out, and really building a system and how he practiced and iterated that. And once he got clarity on building that narrative in the right manner and focusing on structured communication, he went from a failed fundraise to raising 4.5 million euros. And now, the fourth link in the chain, this is all about completing the process. And it's something that I see most founders completely mess up because, to be frank, you need to go through multiple fundraisers to learn this. So let me show you why this matters. Another founder I worked with, Vishal, had fundraised before, but it was half-hearted, it was stressful, and it kind of worked, but it didn't. He just got across the line and raised his pre-seed. He lost loads of time, felt completely overwhelmed, and he didn't really push anyone with momentum to create a really competitive round. So when he was coming to a seed round, we had to make him much more structured in how he built his fundraise, from the prep to the launching in the right manner to conducting it properly. And his fundraise was so much faster and much more effective. He was way less stressed because he knew exactly what he needed to do at certain times, and he was much more organized. And that's what allowed him to raise £4 million in a successful fundraising round. And here's the critical part. You need to measure which of these 4 links is broken in your chain. So if you want to find out exactly where you're strong and where you're weak in your fundraise, I've put together a quick assessment. Check the link below and it will show you exactly which areas you need to focus on to fix your chain and finally raise the funding that you need to be successful. And if you want to see how most founders are using this system to go from struggling to raising millions, then check out this video next.